We need to talk about Lulu. Cheers, says I, and either I am or you am Gilmore Tamney. I believe I am, so I will say, welcome to Live at the Gilmore. Yeah, baby. Today I am yapping, I am not writing, which is an exciting change. And I am going to be talking about Lulu, the collaboration between Lou Reed and Mr. Metallica, the rock and roll band. My talking about this was after a social media type discussion about some kind of monster, which I recommend highly. And somebody said, hey, you should review Lulu. And I was like, hey, yeah, why not? And people have been begging me ever since, or perhaps mentioning it incidentally. So, Lulu. My impression of Lulu when it came out, and I should say I am totally doing the Oscar Wilde ignorance, bloom, touch, ruin, exotic fruit thing, i.e. not reading anything about it. But I do remember when it came out, and I remember it not getting a lot of like eager thumbs up, but that's all context. I haven't read anything, keeping the ears, purest driven snow. Absolute number one thing I liked about this record most is that they did it at all. It was like a risk, and I think Metallica is in search of their beginner's mind, and they both like put something on the table, and you know, all right, that's great. Like there's all the super groups are such a troublesome enterprise, and I don't know, like there's such a pressure to make it like the masterpiece, to end all masterpieces, but you know, so what? Like they did it, and I think that took some stones. I thought this might be an interesting pairing, if you will, as I think both of these artists are, a lot of their expression is responding to toxic masculinity. Now, whether or not you could argue either of them throws off the mantle of toxic masculinity or creates ways that it's even heavier, is another discussion. But I would say, like, over here you have Mr. Lou in a sort of disembodied, detached, sort of dropped out masculinity. And then Metallica is definitely more aggro, you know, and like taking the rigidity and stricture of our overlord patriarchal culture and like taking it in and then like shooting it back at you, which is fucking awesome. So I didn't know if there might be kind of a nice potential yin-yang on that front. One interesting thing about this record is pondering the question of bitterness. I should preface this by saying I am a complete fan of bitterness. This is not me saying like one shouldn't be bitter. However, I guess I would say the tone of a lot of this is, it's not like the entree and everywhere, but it is like the French fries served with the entree. It's a side dish. So, God forbid I sound like I'm workshopping this, which I promised myself I wouldn't do. But I'm going to say this anyway, which is a lot of the lyrics, and I would say even the tone, when you are as rich and powerful and have as many people coming up to you and being like, dude, you changed my life. I love you. A tone of unrelieved bitterness could seem a little not disingenuous, but just maybe not accounting for, maybe not as credible or something. I mean, I certainly understand both parties have things to be deeply bitter about. I don't expect them to, God forbid, be jolly or something. It's mostly Lou Reed speak poetizing. There's a more fancy word for it. George, maybe you could put it under there. Lots and lots of poetry and words and spoken word. I never really liked that term, but I think that would be fair. There are lyrics about don't cheat on yourself, which, you know, I strained and strained. I just didn't understand what they were talking about. I just couldn't get there. If somebody wants to explain it to me. I did feel like Lou was giving some short shrift to little dogs as he describes them like unfavorably, or likens himself unfavorably to little dogs in one of his songs. You know, easy. They got enough troubles, and some of them have hearts of lions, and you know, I wasn't crazy about that. The word spermless is used many times in one song. Of note, there is undeniably excellent riffage in and out and up and down and throughout this piece. And as a riffage fan and admirer of Metallica's search for the perfect riff, I definitely enjoyed that. You know, obviously it's not me, you know, Master of Puppets or whatever. Although you can hear the ghost of Master of Puppets. I mean, it's the same band. Metallica may be one of the least psychedelic bands ever. You know, I wouldn't say Lou Reed is totally psychedelic, although, you know, clearly that's somewhere nearby. And I wonder if that was a meeting point that was not there. Venn diagram, as to the Venn diagram question of their, you know, modes of expression. As I listened to Lulu, I will say I was plagued with distracting questions. What were the couches like? Did anyone get really picky about the couches in the studio? Which member of Metallica was Lou's favorite? Did they do VU covers? You know, what did Lars' dad think? Was that therapist there? I think they've given him the boot by now. Was Laurie asked to do a violin solo? If Dirty 3 had been involved, what this would sound like. Blah, blah. Oh, you know, did they look deeply into each other's eyes and see something there that I will never understand? Speaking of the workshopping question, at one point there's a mention of a butterfly, and I was like, I wonder if they mentioned like what type of butterfly, like a monarch or a swallowtail or whatever, it would be better, which is a very workshoppy question. Forgive me. Forgive me! This has been Gilmore Tamney from Live at the Gilmore on Boston Hassle, telling you things about a record you may or may not have heard. So there. Ever been guitar-faced? Someone's talking to you, but they're not listening. They're playing guitar. I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you, baby.